Hi all, welcome back to episode 2 of ABR Loons, and as promised from episode 1 I'm just going to do a quick video for you. Well, I'm not, Gary is on our behalf, and I'm just going to quickly tell you and show you a couple of pictures from when we first started, going back to a couple of 2 or 3 years ago. So in the first image, bear with me because I've got to look at my laptop here and I'm not very good at this. The first image you'll see is Paul when he first got his DR 250, and interesting thing about when Paul bought his DR 250, because he's dyslexic and he saw it on eBay and he thought, he contacted the guy and he did a deal on over the phone and made arrangements to go and pick it up, only a cheap bike, and pay cash, etc. And so we thought, great, not too far away. I think it was about 57 miles away from where we live. Until the morning of the day that he'd arranged to go down and pick it up, when he punched in the postcode into his sat-nav to discover that his bike wasn't actually in Barmouth, which was 55 miles away. It was actually in Bournemouth, which was 188 miles away. So Paul had a round journey of 380 miles to go and collect that bike. But hey, I guess that's what happens when you're dyslexic. Anyway, so there you go. So that was the first one of Paul there with his DR250, which he no longer has. Next one along there you can see is on, I think, is our first day out, I think it was. That was up a place called Mole Arthur, where Phil had taken us for the first time. I'm sorry, not Mole Arthur, on a route called the Wayfarer, which a lot of you Northern Adventure Enduro riders will know about. So the picture of Paul and I just standing there with our bikes. And then we move on to that one, and we had our first experience of riding in puddles. And as you can see, there's a cracking picture there of Paul, and he's posing in the what looks like a pond, and he's not actually posing, because what actually happened is he stole the bike and he was stuck there, so he ended up with all the water all inside his boots. So quite entertaining, because he then nearly died of trench foot at the end of it all. And then we move on from there. And we got another picture now. That was the end of the day, where we managed to survive our first day. A picture of Paul, myself and Phil on the bikes, just chilling out and relaxing, with smiles on our faces. And then we move on from there. We've got a quick picture of the back end of my old DR 350, and that was the damage of the day. Just managed to break the number plate. And from there on, I learned that if you go straight onto eBay, that you can find these flexible number plates. So needless to say, that's what we stick on the bikes now, so we don't have those problems again in the future. And the next picture you can see is my trusty initial DR 350, which is actually it was a cracking bike. Gleaming picture of it there. Obviously, if you get a bit closer up, it wasn't so it wasn't so clean, a bit more rusty. I had about 40,000 miles on it. But I didn't know much about those kind of bikes, and then I actually sold it because I thought this is just going to break down up some mountain somewhere if it's got 40,000 miles on it. Again, down to my inexperience, probably would have invested, have kept it, and maybe had a bit of rebuild on it by someone else, not me, because I'm not a mechanic. So there we go. That's the picture, the old DR 350. Then moving on from there, according to my picture, it looks like a sky. So I don't know what that one is, because I can't see it. And then moving on from there, let's see, what have we got? Oh yeah, sorry, that one is a picture of me just on the bike, just going steady on a wet road. You know, it was all knobbly tyres. You know, I wasn't used to that at all. Lowering your tyre pressures, what's that all about? And I found the whole thing very squirrely. So I'm all over the show, you know. But anyway, I kept going. So there's a picture of me on the bike actually riding it and not actually falling off. And then the next one along there is that's the cowpat picture. So that was in a field. It was a really boggy, muddy field, and again, it was my first experience of being in a boggy, muddy field, and needless to say, the whole thing slipped away from underneath me. I ended up stuck underneath the bike. Unfortunately, the worst part about it was so wet and moist. The mud was actually mostly cowpat and cow wee. You can see the cows in the background, and hence the side of me coat is covered in the cowpat and cow wee, etc. So I'll have to stop there now because I've clicked on something wrong and now I've lost everything. Why me? So back again. now I've figured out what to press on my laptop. So the next picture along from that is us just chilling out up a little track, just taking a breather. First time ever done, I say, anything like this, so there was quite a lot of breathers and stops. The next one, that's when we decided that we got a bit more experience under our belt, and we decided that the DRs weren't for us, which probably they were, but again, inexperience shows here. So the DR350 I sold because I felt it was too tall, and because I was inexperienced, I was finding it difficult to dab a foot down or get myself out of a tricky little situation, so I'd end up rolling off the bike, falling off it all the time. Paul mainly with his because it was kickstart, and he had a few problems with it trying to kickstart it all the time. So we both decided to sell them and we'll buy some newer bikes. So we got Honda CRF 250Ls, of which you can see a picture of one of the bikes there in the garage, which I think that one was mine. And then the next picture along from that is just on a track there in Wales, and it's the two CRFs together when we just stopped for a cup of coffee. We got those bikes because we did a little bit of research and found out that they seem to be a good dual sport bike. And again, at that time, we didn't think, well, where this was going to go. It was just a case of, well, these seem very good. There's a lot of people using them, so let's get one of them each, and they'll last us forever. So rather than me having an old DR350 that done 40,000 miles, why not have a much newer CRF, and it'll last me till I probably die. But anyway, we move on from that because they're gone. Because we've obviously got a little bit more into this. But that was the plan then. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. I'm now going to ask Gary to bang on a few other just short clips of videos and stuff that we've got for you to see. And it just gives you an idea of what we were doing and have done to get ourselves to where we're at now. So it is telling us a bit of a story. I am doing a bit of a catch-up for the two of us on this, so I apologise. But I'm just trying to give you all the story of how this came about and how we're ending up going to Africa. So it's going to take a few episodes to get to that, utilising old pictures that we took and old bits of video that when we took them, we had no idea at that material time that we were going to be doing this and have a YouTube channel. That's the last thing I'd expect to be having. But anyway, hey ho, there we are. So without further ado now, I'll hand you over to Gary's technical ability, and hopefully you'll see some videos. Cheers all.